Dan Gilman, and I own a leadership development consultancy. And I work with some C-level folks like you who are dedicated to culture, but sometimes they'll fall off the wagon or make their own mistakes that aren't aligned. So I'm curious with you guys, when have you fallen off the wagon, maybe dipped your toe off the curb, and how have you managed your way back from that?
I think the story that Raj had given before about when things were really tough, and that was a moment where you have to look inward, is a moment to kind of ignite that refocusing on it. I've found this candidly over the last couple of years when things are going fast and going really well, and you're focused on all these different things and driving revenue and driving partnerships, and you're talking about those things in the weekly stuff in the company. The first thing you're not talking about is the values and the culture and all this kind of stuff, because you can excite and energize and everything is going well. The problem is why that's such a mistake is that it is setting you up for when those things aren't going well, or you didn't get that deal, or whatever it is. You've relied on wins, right, to be able to rally and unite and all those things, and that's very short-sighted. And so whenever you have a challenge or something goes wrong, that is a time that it's actually, I think, not easy but natural, I think, for leaders to say, okay, let's ground ourselves. What are we about? Why are we doing this? And then communicate that to the team. And I think the best leaders are then able to capture that and continue that when you get that aha, that learning, that refocusing moment, to make sure that you then are just pounding that, and that's a consistent thing ongoing, even when you do start to have wins, again. And so I've seen this, we've seen this. I think it's something that leaders can probably always do a better job of, setting your company up for consistency, right, of purpose, whether things are great, whether things are tough, and that does come to the cultures and the values that you communicate.
Yeah, it's a great question, because I've got a very long list of mistakes and shortcomings, and so trying to distill it down to one. I'd tell you, I think the one thing that we did to try to address the fact that when you're building a business and things are moving quickly, you're making decisions and you get caught up in the process, and you've got to continue to try to lift your head up. And the way we kind of institutionalize that with our leadership team is that we meet every Friday morning, and the first item on the agenda now, because we found ourselves too much in action mode, and was what we call stories from the journey, which is everybody's got to walk around during the week and try to identify examples of people living the values and stories of things that are happening that represent our values, and they've got to come on Friday morning and just share those for the first 10 minutes of the meeting. And for me, it's less about the stories, it's more about the fact that subconsciously now they're trying to catch people during the week living the values, and then come to the meeting and share that. And so that was almost like a little technique we put in place, because we're running so fast you forget that, particularly with that leadership team, who are the real influencers, and they have an outsized impact on kind of how it comes to life. You've got to just remind yourself, if that's important to us, then we've got to talk about it. It's got to be on the agenda. And I think that was a reflection of the fact that there was a period of time when we were going so fast that 3 months would go by and we'd be like, oh crap, we forgot to talk about that really important thing that we all, and so that's just a technique we put in place to remind ourselves.
I'm a huge sports fan, and I catch myself, because Matt's story about just sort of when the hard times come, you have to be ready. Think about Pete Carroll today. His team's 2-4. It's way harder to coach a 2-4 team and talk about all these things we're supposed to do than a 6-2 team or a 4-2 team, because everything's working at 4-2, and everything I say must be right. When it's 2-4, now there's some questions. Hey, are we doing the right stuff? Is this all right? And what I think great coaches do, or great leaders do, is they distill it down to, it's not about the game at the end of the day, it's about the process leading up. It's about every individual play, and that if you can distill this down to the components, this is why culture matters so much. If you can distill it down to the components, if you win the play, you'll win the game. And we have to be able to break this down into small little atomic elements. And I think great leaders do a really good job of that. That's why I'm still betting on the Seahawks, by the way.